Hey everybody, welcome back. Been messing with some settings, some control sensitivity settings, and checking out the Bing maps here in the Caribbean, the updated Bing maps, and we're going to get to both of those things now. First of all, come up here on top of descent. Let's have a quick look at the weather in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Weather in San Juan. Looks like we're the one thing I've also noticed is that the live weather has been superb lately. Getting a lot of this, a lot of clouds between the islands, which you usually don't get, and out over open water. All right, so we're coming down to 1500. Start dialing this down here. Look at that, right in the nose. We'll go vertical speed mode. Start coming down about 500 feet a minute, and we'll catch the vertical path here pretty soon. Once you get the magenta box there on the altimeter, we'll get we can engage VNav here in the ATR, and there it is, and now we engage VNav, and we're in VNav path mode. What does it want us to come down to? Flight level 110. Okay, you got me convinced. I'll have to look and see why it's 110. Anyway, winds 150, 11 gusts and 17. 150, 11 gusting 17. Altimeter 1013. 299er 0. So we can put that in now because we're in San Juan airspace. Yeah, see, that's what I thought it meant. It doesn't mean 1100, it means 11,000. But it's gonna give us down to... It's gonna give us down to 1500, because that's glide slope intercept, but... That, when I saw flight level 110, that's the kind of one of the annoying things about flying in the islands. They've got all this stuff about transition altitudes, right? And also about the overspeed. And because you get into flight levels at different altitudes, it's sometimes a little bit difficult to kind of keep track. So let's see, 109.7, I'll do that in a second, but let's make sure that's synced. We'll go heading select, and then we'll go there, and now we'll bring that course around to 101 for the final approach into San Juan. Oopsie, there's 101. Come back over here, go back into LNAV mode. Alright, now let's go over here. Nav mode, we want 1097. And in the backup, we want 114, which is the San Juan VOR. both. Alright, so those are now set. Why is it in pitch hold mode? To annoy me, that's why. Alright, FWS recall. Stab our way at that, see if we can get it. Any elevations, automatic, FMS, nav performance. So they want us at Mavie at 11,000. So as soon as we cross Mavie, we're going to dial that down to 6,000. Maybe here in 8 seconds. Altitude hold. Now 6,000. Alright, there's 6,000. FMS nav performance. Let's go performance. 1012. I'm like a one-legged, one-armed paper hanger right now here. Alright, what do we got? 150. 150. 11. Gus 17. So that is set. Let's take a look quick at the decision height on the ILS. Decision height is 260. Alright, so 260, let's put that in. No, that's not what I want. Sorry, I had to wake my dog up because he's crying. He's having a bad dream. So, set up pretty well. And we're going to come around and intercept at Tinner. So what else we got to do? Decision height, arrival briefing. We'll do real quick here. We'll look at the chart so you guys can have a look. Alright, can I please type TJSJ? Approach ILS 10. And here we go. So 1097, 101 is final approach course. Glide slope intercept is Ramsey 1500. Decision height is 260. Touchdown zone elevation is 10 feet. Minimum safe altitude on this side is 5400, which is why we're being restricted to 6000 over here. Missed approach, climb straight ahead to 1900, then climbing left turn to 3000 feet on a heading of 300 and outbound the SJU VOR radial 004. So we'd be flying 004 outbound because radials radiate out, right? To DD intersection DME 15 of the SJU VOR and hold, or as directed by ATC. Alright, about 550 to 600 feet on the descent rate, 3-degree glide slope. Pappy on the left-hand side, minimum intensity approach light system with the Rabbit. And let's see here. And if we lose the glide slope for some reason, we got 600 feet of Zaspa. And localized would be 420. So, and then climb straight ahead 1900. Climbing left turn to 3000 on heading at 300 radial. 004 outbound. And that's pretty much that. Alright. So. $8,300 descending right now. Let's get our brain engaged. Total air temperature is 20 degrees Celsius, so we're good to go. Seatbelts, landing lights, altimeters, cabin altitude. Check the cabin altitude is decreasing. Good to go. Alright, so we are in pretty good shape. I figure we're about, what, 20 miles to the southeast now. San Juan traffic, Executive Eagle 5517, 20 miles to the southeast, inbound ILS runway 10, San Juan. Now that was a radio call right there, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think of that one? And look at these localized showers. I mean, it just looks awesome. Guadalupe definitely looked better with the Bing maps. The new Bing maps, that is. Just awesome weather. Just so cool going into these localized showers like this. I want to bring the speed back just a tiny bit. Alright. Field should be about our 1 o'clock. So quick look at the approach chart, or the arrival chart here again. Okay, we cross Rakua at 6,000, then we can come down. And I'm guessing the next altitude it's going to give me is 1,500, which is the glide slope intercept. No. I find this checklist kind of pointless because I'm not going to be sitting here checking a checklist for while I'm putting my gear and flaps down. San Juan traffic, Executive Eagle 5517, a beam south of the field. I'm making a right-hand traffic pattern for 10, San Juan. So once we hit Rakua, which we're going to hit here pretty soon, we put us into altitude hold mode, which means we're going to lose some speed here pretty quick unless we put the power in. And now come down to about 1,500. We'll go back into VNAV path mode and see exactly like we hoped. It gave us 1,500 feet. Almost makes it look like we know what we're doing. Almost. I was talking to my good friend Captain Hughes about this airplane, and there are times when this airplane is just the coolest thing in the world, and there are times when this airplane drives me nuts. And as Mrs. Island Sim Pilot would tell you, driving me nuts is not a very long trip. Okay. So. Just want to bring this power back just a little bit to get myself down to that 170 knots. San Juan is looking fantastic. No issues at all with the photogrammetry or anything like that. Alright. Nice, easy descent. And again, the Bing maps look fantastic. Updated Bing maps look fantastic. I flew a flight earlier today, I forgot to start them. It's one of those things. So 178. Tenor is 12 miles. It's probably completely unnecessary to do a 12-mile final. Love the localized showers, it just looks awesome. Now Tinner's a fly over. It's a fly by waypoint, so we won't be quite at 12 miles, but still. It's kind of a pretty long final for this airplane. San Juan traffic, Executive Eagle 5517, 10 mile right base runway 10, San Juan. And I am nailing those radio calls today. And I think the buildings look a whole lot better with the new Bing maps, which is kind of interesting because it's it's part of the imagery, right? Like going back to the video I did. Let's make sure final is clear. Lights are on. Going back to the video that I did. The picture I took of MacArthur Airport out on Long Island, you could really see how much better the buildings looked, the houses looked. San Juan traffic, Executive Eagle 5517, turning a 10 mile final runway 10, San Juan. I just think there's more detail to them. Yeah, we overshot. I knew that was going to happen. 17 knot crosswind. So we got a 17 knot crosswind, 20 knot crosswind right now. Glide slope and localizer. Let's go. Flaps 15. Ramsey is 6, so we're at 9 miles right now. $175 at 15, and we're looking for a 150. There should be a wind shift about. Should be a wind shift about 1,000 feet is what I'm gonna guess. And once we get to 1 mile from Remy, that'll be 7 miles. It'll look like 7 miles. It's probably at the ILS transmitter is probably at the other end of the runway. So we'll go gear down. This will help us slow down. Speed checks for flaps 30. We'll go flaps 30. Gear down 3 green, flaps 30. Alright. San Juan traffic, Executive Eagle 5517, 5 mile final runway 10 San Juan. And yaw dampener and autopilot away my airplane. So now we'll see how these control settings work, these sensitivity settings. We will see if your pilot is competent. So far, it's not looking good. So they're just too... They're just too reactive to me. Whoa, there's a big updraft. And short of change... Oh, there's a move right there. Short of changing the... Putting in a big extremity dead zone, which works, but then you lose a lot of your control. Whoopsie, no. You lose a lot of your control. No.
500.
Yeah. Nope. Whoa. Nope. The problem with the extremity dead zone is you lose some of your control. That's the word I'm looking for. You don't have full deflection of your controls. If you set like a 20% extremity dead zone landing, you only have 80% of your control deflection at your disposal. Which I'd rather have all of it. So I'm trying to, even though the extremity dead zone does exactly what I want to do, I'm trying to find another way to do it.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Now, whoa, my word. See, that's another thing with Flight Simulator that bugs me, is you can't put in crosswind controls, you can't put in aileron controls on the ground. because it tips the plane over in the direction that you put the aileron correction in. But if you don't put crosswind correction in, because you can't, you tip the airplane over because you're not putting in a crosswind correction. So it's really, it's not very handy. So I don't know. Like I said, the Extremity Dead Zone does exactly what I want it to do. The only problem is you're robbing yourself of full control deflection. Which, I mean, when do you ever go to the stops, right, on your controllers? So really, what's the big deal? But I don't know. It's like I can put in a positive Extremity Dead Zone and be done with it. In 2 seconds, I'm done with it, and it fixes exactly what I want to fix. Or I sit here for days and days and days fotzing around with these stupid control settings that they don't explain. I mean, reactivity, I know what it does, but there is no... 4 years into the sim, there is no Microsoft Flight Simulator documentation on what it means, what it does. Which is a little ridiculous if you think about it. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll just put the Extremity Dead Zone back in and just forget about it. Maybe that's what I will do. Alright. Parking brake. And we'll come up top, bring these both back. Put the prop brake on. Shut down engine number 1. Come down here. Wheel chocks. Get some power, get the tail prop. Get the doors open. And now we can shut down engine number 2. Release the humans, we'll turn the beacon and the taxi and takeoff lights off, and that is pretty much it for that one. Let's see what we got for a landing. 167 feet per minute, not bad. Not bad. The weather's been amazing the last few days. The Bing maps are working wonderfully, even in the Caribbean, looking really, really nice. The grass around the airports in particular, I've noticed, areas like this look a whole lot better. And I figured out the whole thing about how they can charge you for Google Maps. I don't know if anybody's interested. So the way they can charge you for, so that was the thing I always found kind of sketchy. Is like, how does the mod creator charge you for use of Google data? Well, what he does, or they do, I shouldn't say what he does, what they do is they pay for the data from Google and then charge you for it, which is a legitimate business use. I mean, there's, like if you have a business and you need to use Google data for whatever reason, you can. You just pay Google for the privilege, and then you can use it however you want. I don't know specifically that you can pass those charges along in the way that this developer is doing, but I also don't know that you can't. I haven't looked into it that much, but I always thought it was a little sketchy that they're charging you for Google Maps data. But if them charging people for Google Maps data for the people who want the Pro license enables us to use the maps, the mod for free to get the Bing data, works for me. I was just kind of curious more than anything else. So that's pretty much that. And the quest for perfect control configuration goes on. I hope you guys are doing well, and we'll talk soon.